folks, today is the 25th of November 2021. It's been quite some time since I've checked in. A lot has happened since then. On the 10th of July we had the auction for the house in Tullamarine. That was a raging success and I got more than I expected for it, so I'm very happy with that. They settled for 60-day settlement, so on the 6th of September we moved out into service department, and the removalists came on the 6th and 7th to load up shipping containers with the contents of the storage unit in the house. I don't actually have usable video of that. On the 6th I succeeded in not hitting the record button properly, so after quite some extensive time I hit the record button to stop the recording, and then 8 seconds later turned off the camera. I know this because I have 8 seconds of video. Oops. On the 7th we were packing up the remainder of the house, and I got some video of that, but for some reason or other the camera decided that day that it wanted to be blurry, video, so not really usable. So we spent just over 2 months in the service department. That was kind of okay, but missed my own bed and things like that. Missed having lots of computers around me. So we were very eager to get to Bakung. Eventually the VTAS, which is the preliminary visa thing, came through for me, and by then the travel restrictions for Australia had been removed. So we met all the requirements to get into Indonesia, which we did. Arrived at the airport on the 17th, bright and early in the morning in Melbourne, and got to Jakarta via Sydney considerably later in the day, and then spent 4 hours exiting the airport in Jakarta because the restrictions for coming in include getting a PCR test after you've proved that you've got all your vaccinations and previous PCR tests. So after collecting your baggage and going out through customs to the exit hall, where you normally would then exit out to transport, you sort of get held there until the PCR test results that you just had, the results of the PCR test that you just had come back, which takes a couple of hours. So we got to the quarantine hotel fairly late. There was mandatory 3-day quarantine, so from the airport you go into quarantine, then on the 3rd day, so that counts as the first day, so on the 3rd day, which in our case was the 19th, at 3 o'clock in the morning we got up to go and have our follow-up PCR tests, and then at 2:30 approximately in the afternoon got the phone call from reception to say, okay, your test results are back and you can check out, you're good to go. So from there we got picked up by family and came to Bakung. That process has changed a little bit because once upon a time we used to get off the toll road at Sabang, and then it was all non-toll road down to Sukaresmi, hang a left, go on country roads. This time there was a new toll road section in place, so we bypassed Serang, went straight to Pandeglang and exited the toll road there, and that toll road will actually continue to Palembang. It's due to be completed within the next 2 years, which is really good because Palembang is next door to Sukaresmi when we turn. So it's going to cut down the travel time quite a bit. That'll be better for any visitors who come to stay. Since arriving in Bakung here on the 19th, late at night, a few things have been got underway, like we've got a few projects underway, but There's been some internet hassles, of course. Equipment which was previously working when I left was no longer working when I got here, so there was a few days sorting that out. Some of it hasn't been sorted out yet because one piece of equipment that stopped working is my cable tester, so I need to get another one of those to find out why the front of the house and the back of the house are not talking via the cable. The USB modem talking to the cell towers 4.5 kilometres away. That's showing 60% signal strength on 4G, which must be less than what it was previously. It must have been 80% previously, because we've got a signal download and upload speeds of only about 2 megabits per second, which is considerably less than what it was before. I used to get about 15 megabits per second download and 5 up. So that's degraded somewhat. But there is some prospect of getting better internet here now, because on the far wall of my house here, there is actually a commercial hotspot, which you buy the vouchers and you put in the code of the voucher as your Wi-Fi password, and that says, okay, you've got 12 hours or a month or whatever you've paid for. So I'm currently using a 1 month voucher in this mobile phone, and then setting that up as a hotspot for my notebook computer. It's a bit clunky, but that gives me about 4 megabits per second download speed, so that's okay. But the part I find that most encouraging is the fact that there is actually an Ethernet, a Cat5 cable running across the building to that hotspot. So that means we have some way of getting cabled Ethernet to this building. And I figure, well, if I can get that, I can just plug that into my router, and we don't worry about the USB modem and that stuff anymore. So I've got to sit down with people who can work their way through the options here and see what we can get. I think the other thing that's on the go for today is folks will come and measure up for the security grills on one of the windows. It's got to look like a jar while I'm finished, but that's okay, I don't mind, as long as we're secure. I want to have steel grills with 316 stainless steel mesh, security mesh, bug screen, because at the moment Aussies do tend to find me very attractive. A few marks to show for it. It must be new meat and tasty. So I'm going to fight those off. I sit here basking in the smoke of Aussie coils at the moment. Fortunately, there's no malaria and dengue in this area, so that's good. COVID-19 doesn't seem to have come to this area either, which is pretty remarkable, but fortunate. I think only about half the people here are vaccinated. I hope to encourage a few more. What else is on the agenda? There's going to be other things. I'm just losing the plot a bit, because it's not stinking hot like it has been at times. There has been a lot of rain. The roads are pretty exciting. Like I think I've said before, well, possibly not on YouTube, but the last 6 kilometres of the journey from the turn at Sukaresmi is along country roads, which in parts are a nice concrete road, which is the width of 1 car plus a scooter. So a scooter can go past. If it's 2 cars, one of them's going to have to back up. About half of the distance, half of that 6 kilometres, is concrete road like that, which is reasonable. The other half is less than optimal. So I timed it last Friday night, and the journey was the 43 minutes that I've recorded previously. Even though there's more concrete now, there's more potholes as well. So yeah, 43 minutes for a 6 kilometre journey, half of which is okay. You've got to factor in there that there's some pretty bad road. So I won't be dressing a lot. But yeah, the rain washes are clean, keeps the potholes nice and full so you can't see how deep they are. I think the SUV we were in only bottomed out once on the journey. Couldn't do it in a normal car. But yeah, we're closer to getting some projects up going here, and that's the other thing too. My shipping containers. There's going to be 3 shipping containers coming. We're currently waiting on paperwork from it's sort of indirectly from the Indonesian consulate in Melbourne to say that Jabina is an Indonesian citizen returning to Indonesia after several years abroad, and we're returning with her contents in the containers. And the idea of that is to get a preferential import tax or import duty rate. Now, we can't get that letter at the moment because that's being organised by our lawyers in Jakarta, who have registered an account to do that stuff online. But that account requires verification, and that verification is performed by a Directorate General that currently their building's undergoing renovation, so there's no time forecast for when we'll get that letter. So I do have a query in with the import agent at this end saying, how much actual dollar difference is that letter going to make? Because if it's not going to be a substantial difference, we should get the container shipped anyway, because there's so much stuff I want for projects here. Among the most important ones is the off-grid electrical system. I want to put solar panels and storage on this house as soon as practical, and I've got all the necessary wiring and switchboard gear in the containers to wire the house throughout, with lots and lots of power points and lots of breakers for them. One of the drivers for this is the fact that the night before last we had over 10 hours of outage. Yesterday there was another hour of outage, so the power here is not sufficiently reliable for frozen goods really. So I want to fix that, and part of that project is actually me running cables to other houses nearby to a little power board with a relay in front of it, and the relay will be having input from the mains power to the one set of the contacts in the relay and to the actuator coil, and the other set of contacts in the relay will be from my off-grid system, so that when the mains power are on, the power board is powered for the mains. If the mains power goes off, the coil de-energises and the contacts change to connect the off-grid system to the power board. So I can plug their fridge and a light into that, and they'll always have power on them. I've got all the necessary components for that, apart from the power boards themselves in the shipping container. So when the shipping container arrives, I'll buy a bunch of power boards and sit and do a bit of fiddling. Building relay boxes to put in front of between the power plug and the power board. What else can I tell you at this stage? Jabina's happy to be home, very happy, which is good. And it's just as noisy as I remember. The children are at school at the moment, but children in Indonesia don't seem to have the volume control. It's always up to 11. No, I think that's probably enough for an update for now. I've had several previous attempts at this which will run out to about 20 minutes, so I'll spare you that. I'll stop this now and report back when there's something more to report. Bye.